Mhm.
Okay. Thank you for joining us for City Talk. I'm Emily Lofgren, the City of Muscatine's Communications Manager, and the purpose of City Talk is to inform the citizens of Muscatine about what's going on with the city and how the various departments are working hard. And we have a department member here with us right now. We have Whitni Pena, who's one of the school resource officers for the police department. So thank you so much for joining us, Whitni.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, so tell us a little bit about you. Where are you from? When did you come to Muscatine? And
Okay.
about your role in the department.
I've been with the police department for almost 9 years. In January it'll be 9 years. I came from Rock Island. This is the only department I've been with, so I've since moved my family to Muscatine. And like I said, I used to live in Rock Island and then lived in Davenport, and now I'm a citizen of Muscatine.
That's great. Yeah. So when you first started with the department, what did you work on? Like, what was your primary role?
When I first started with the department, I had to go to the police academy, which is in Des Moines, so it's like 13 to 14 weeks. It's kind of like a college setting. You go from Monday through Friday, you do class, you have physical training, defensive tactics, and then you're allowed to come home on the weekends. So once you get through that, then it's like a 4-month training here at the police department. So you're with another officer and you go through various steps in the department. Then once you're done with that, then you're kind of on your own as a patrol officer. So I was only on my own for about 3 months when the school resource officer job came available, and I put in for it and I was chosen. So I actually did 7 years at the high school as a resource officer, and then took a year off, and then I'm now the middle school resource officer.
All right, great. So did you want to be a police officer when you were growing up? Is that a dream that you always had, or how did you even decide to apply?
It wasn't always a dream, but my mom kind of worked for the Rock Island County, so she was like involved in like traffic and stuff, so it was always something I enjoyed.
Mm-hmm.
But I originally went to St. Ambrose and started out to be a teacher.
Oh.
And then realized that was a little more work than I was willing to put in school-wise, so I then for some reason always liked law enforcement, so I did a couple ride-alongs and realized this was the field for me. And I do love kids, so I knew that if I could get into the school resource officer position, like that would be my niche.
Yeah, that's kind of the best of both worlds.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
You ended up getting a job with the police department, and then that job opened up with being a school resource officer. That's really cool. So tell me about your daily tasks as a school resource officer. I mean, I know that we all know that you're in the school and you're at the different sporting events and some of the things that are going on, but what do you actually do?
So both, like the high school resource officer and the middle school vary. So when I was a high school resource officer, my daily duties consist of, obviously both schools you would do hallway duty, lunch duty, anytime there would need of assistance, whether it be a student, not following instructions or not wanting to leave a classroom or whatnot. But for the most part, like counseling, like just talking to kids, just letting them know that, you can talk to obviously police. It doesn't have to be always in a negative manner. Just trying to build a more positive view of police for students. So I did a lot of like talk in classrooms, and I used to run like a girl talk group, and so just tried to, get the kids involved and not just, dealing with them on the street.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't realize. They don't realize that like the girl talk group or some of the things that you were.
Yeah, it's 90% of my job at the school, I feel like, is more of a counselor. The 10% obviously when I have to be a police officer or do my roles, but I look for building a rapport with the kids. Like I try really hard to like remember the kids' names, because I had one kid one time, he's like, no one ever says hi to me, and like you say my name every single day. So it's just like little things like that you don't realize that mean so much to kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think sometimes people will have a negative view of police officers because they've gotten in trouble before, but if you start building that relationship in the beginning, then they're not going to be scared of police officers
And I've had students that instantly see me and relate me to any female police officer that's ever been involved in anything, that you arrested this person or you arrested this person. And so yeah, trying to build that relationship back up is what I look for.
And I think that's one of the unique things about the Muscatine Police Department. I think that as a whole, I think the department really focuses on building relationships with the community.
And that's one of our main things we push right now is the community police officer. We have they call POP projects. So each officer has a problem-oriented policing, so they might have different apartment complexes or different businesses or buildings, whatnot, where they just go in and make sure that, everything's going okay, and, we just kind of focus more on building the relationships with different, groups. And
Yeah, have you seen when they started implementing the school resource officers into the schools here in Muscatine, did it help with some of the problems and fights and stuff
oh,
with
absolutely.
kids?
You'll see just my presence alone. I mean, even if I'm just standing there with the principal when they're just like talking to a student or whatnot, you can totally see how their attitude changes. I mean, so not even me, I don't have to like be yelling and screaming, but I mean, you can just totally see my presence is just, and that's kind of what they wanted. They want me to be able to talk to the kids, but they also want me to be there to be, the enforcer if I needed to be. So.
Yeah. So I know I've seen you at football games and some of those things. So it's not just during the school day that you're.
Correct. Yeah, we do. Usually we have to work all like the dances at the high schools, like prom and homecoming. We'll do that. The cakewalk, for basketball, we do that. I actually just volunteered. Me and another officer, we did Halloween at the Y this past weekend. So I especially try to do as much as I can in the community.
Yeah, that's
I
great.
enjoy that stuff. So.
Yeah, I think it really does help to have your presence around. And
I know that's not every officer. I mean, every officer, that's not what they want to do is, be community involved. But I feel like each officer has a different niche for something different. So.
Yeah, I think it's been really nice to see, like even Officer Raisbeck, Danielle, she's been doing a lot of community policing activities as well, and I know that you've worked with her.
Yeah, I know. She just recently did the painting with the pumpkins again. We did it last year at the YMCA, so that was a good turnout again.
Yeah, that's been good. So what are some of the challenges that you've had in your job as a school resource officer?
A lot of the times it's, when I first started, the school and the police department, we weren't on the best page, so like me kind of being the liaison between the two entities, like that has really strengthened, like now the school and the police department, like we have a great relationship. So, I mean, that was a struggle when I first got hired. And obviously just trying to get people to realize, obviously I am still a police officer, that's my first job, as opposed to being a school official or something in the school. So it's just, getting them to realize what my role kind of is.
Yeah, that could be a little bit challenging. And then what's the most rewarding thing? I know you enjoy working with the students. And
Yeah.
do you have any specific memories or something that?
Just building, like I've had a lot of students where I've built relationships with that have just come from just not so great homes, broken homes and stuff, and just kind of seeing the kids because, like I said, so this will be my 8th year in the school, so 8 years ago, some of those kids now are like 26, 27 years old, so just seeing them out and just them remembering me and me remembering them, I mean, it just shows the relationships that I've built over the years.
Yeah, actually, I think it might have been your first year there when I was a senior.
Yeah, okay.
Because I never really talked to you, but
Right.
but I just remember seeing you there at school. So
Makes me feel old.
that's okay. You were new.
I
but
was 22 years old when I started, so.
So your first years. So cool. So what are some of the other activities that you were saying that there are some community policing activities and you've been doing stuff like Halloween at the Y? What are? Yeah,
we just recently did too. We had a lot of bikes donated. I think we were just in the Journal about that. So we did like a little bike event. Lieutenant Keys is our third shift lieutenant. He contacted me about seeing if we could get some students from the schools that maybe would be appreciative or deserve a bike. So I contacted all the elementaries, they gave me some names, and the students just had to write quick little letters that said like why they wanted to be a police officer and why they thought they needed a new bike. So I mean, some of the letters were very cute, and once they wrote a letter, then they were chosen and kind of came down, and we had little pizza and pop, and they got to get a free bike. So.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's really neat.
And then obviously we do our Shop with a Cop program, so that's another community program that we do.
Yeah, and I got to participate last year by taking pictures there, and it was really a nice
It
event.
is.
I felt like
it's so awesome.
the kids were very appreciative, and they just couldn't wait to.
Right. And there's a couple of myself and another officer that, I mean, because obviously my lieutenant and my sergeant that are in charge, they're not going to be around
And actually, some of these
Oh, here
pictures
we
that
go.
are coming up
Okay,
are
yeah.
from Shop with a Cop last year. So
Yeah, that's our canine dog, Nero, that they brought up. So.
and I know the kids always love to see Nero when they
Oh, they love it.
they're out
Yeah.
and about at different events.
And it's so awesome to have like a dog, a canine dog that's friendly that the kids can interact with.
Yeah.
Yep, so that's kind of where our line for the Shop with the Cop, because since it is a donation to the students, they actually have to check out through a certain register and go through, some little things that we make them do, but they're always usually appreciative. And there's me doing the sucker pull.
Yep.
So there's juice and.
There's pizza last year too, so they got to have a little snack.
So I'm thinking we might incorporate some of the bikes too this year, maybe give some bikes away, and yeah.
Cool. That'll be really nice. Oh, and this is the pumpkin painting from last year.
Yes, yep. So the pumpkins you can see behind him, we had Hy-Vee graciously donated those to us. So we had the pumpkins, and that was at the Y, and I think the apartment complexes across the street were all invited to bring their young children over to participate in the event.
Yeah, and I think they really liked the fact that they were interacting with police officers and painting pumpkins together and doing something fun. Not
well, and that's what a lot of the kids don't realize, that like I am still a person outside of this job. I do still, do girl stuff. I paint my nails. I do my hair. Like they don't realize that. Like after I go home from work, I go home.
Yeah, I feel like that's this misconception kids generally have with it, like adults in different authority positions.
I did a group talk in one of the classrooms, and I asked the teacher, I said, just have them write some questions to ask me. And the number one question was do you have kids? What do you like to do? Do you play games? So they just want to know a little bit more about me.
Well, yeah, because people feel more human when you actually know what their personality is. And this is from Coffee with a Cop.
Yes.
So they do that.
This is a second shift. That's Lieutenant Keys there on the left. He puts this on, just has some of his officers come up, and anyone can come and ask questions about the community, or chat, or we have people tell us about stories, or just kind of another way to show the citizens that we are here to listen to them. It's not always has to be in a negative way. So
yeah, it's just nice to see everything that goes on in the department out in the community. So what about officers who aren't doing the school resource officer position? What's their day-to-day life like?
So we have a lot of different special assignments in our department. So we have 2 school resource officers, 2 street crimes units, 2 canines, 3 detectives, drug task force. So there's a lot of departments where officers can get involved, but obviously if you're not, don't want to do one of the special assignments, they're just on day-to-day patrol, so they'll patrol the streets. If they get a call, they'll obviously have to handle their call. Or.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and then I know that that it's a priority to do daily, getting out of the vehicle and then doing parking walks.
Yeah, we have we call them foot patrols, basically. So one thing I just did is I just basically told all of my elementary school, the middle school, and the high school principals, hey, I'm going to request that now that it's getting cold out, my first shift officers just come do their foot patrols at the schools. I think it never hurts to be familiarized with the schools. If, in the event that something were to happen and they needed to come in, they would know a little bit better of the layout. So all the principals were graciously accepted that. So they're all excited that they're going to start coming in and walking around, and just another way to build our relationship with the schools and the students. So
yeah, that's great. Cool. So is there anything else about the police department that people don't know that you think they should know, or anything that's surprising?
I don't think so. I mean, it's just trying to get people to realize we are human, we do the same things that some of them do, and just we're always here to talk. It doesn't always have to be in a negative way,
Yeah, the whole purpose is, to help the community run more smoothly.
Oh, absolutely.
So.
And I think it's awesome. The more community stuff that we're doing. Like I said, we just did the bike event, the pumpkins. We're going to do Shop with the Cop. I know they're looking to do a couple other little fundraisers and stuff, just maybe to help more with Shop with the Cop, or do something different, where it doesn't always have to be focus just on the Shop with Cop, maybe do something in the spring or,
Yeah. Yeah, it's great. Since working for the city, I've really enjoyed getting to know some of the police officers, and I feel like you all really care about the community a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously there's issues everywhere, but I feel like, our department's, doing what we're supposed to be doing. And
Yeah, it's great. Well, thank you so much for joining us today,
thanks for
Whitney.
having me.
It's been great to have you on. And thank you all for tuning in to City Talk. Next week, we're going to be having our Parks and Rec department on, and they're going to talk about winter golf and some other programs that are going on with them. So thank you so much, and have a great week.